Joining us now is Joel Rubin, the president of the Washington Strategy Group and a former U.S. Deputy Assistant Secretary of State. Welcome, Joel. Guaido was able to make a public appearance today in Caracas. Does it indicate as if a real lasting change is happening there in the country?
Well, thank you, Tal. And it means that there is a real organic indigenous effort politically for change in Venezuela, and that's critical. The United States, we need to make sure that we're not the face of this. Maduro, he wants to make America the face. He wants to mobilize an anti-American, anti-gringo sentiment. That would undermine Guaido, who right now has significant popular support. He has the National Assembly behind him, and he has a legitimate claim that he has constitutional support for becoming the leader of Venezuela. So we need to follow his lead.
But there have been protests against Maduro in the past in Venezuela. What do you think is going to determine eventually if this time the outcome will be different? Is it the military or the international reaction?
It's a mixture of both. Ultimately, the military is going to be the arbiter of who takes power in Venezuela. And as you point out, several years ago, the military stood by Maduro. But the international community does have a role to play. The region, through the Organization of American States, has condemned Maduro and is expressing support for Guaido. We should get creative here in the United States. We should be organizing incentive packages for a day after Maduro, potentially, calling for more asylum, more humanitarian assistance, looking for political pressure to really ensure that there's pressures that change the minds of people inside Venezuela to abandon Maduro and to move to the side of a real democratic Venezuela.
American diplomats in Venezuela are caught in the middle of this ongoing power struggle. Maduro gave them 72 hours to leave the country, but will they all leave? Yes. Is it safe for them to stay there?
It's not a safe situation for an American diplomat. The State Department, and I served at the State Department for a number of years, we really felt like we were on the front lines of America's face abroad. And these diplomats in Caracas, they are they're essentially on their own. It's a small diplomatic security staff. They need to be careful. So it looks like Secretary of State Pompeo is pulling diplomats out. That's prudent and necessary to have an ordered departure. There's no need to put them at risk at this moment.
And speaking of the Secretary of State, tomorrow he will attend on Saturday the Security Council meeting that will convene at the request of the United States. And Pompeo is expected to urge member states to recognize Juan Guaido as the interim president. This is a significant development, but Russia will probably veto any kind of measure of this kind, right?
It is. It's significant, and it's very important to demonstrate international support for Guaido. In this instance, going to the UN is the right move. The continual efforts to engage multilaterally is what will be the legitimacy maker for Guaido and for our actions. And if Russia vetoes, China, if they veto, it's important for them to be isolated and to be seen as opposing opinion both inside Venezuela and regionally as well.
Joel Rubin, thank you for joining us and breaking it all down for us.